for the introduction. So, hi, I'm Prachi Nagpal. So today I'll be talking about layout automation testing, which is graphical user interface testing. And so this is the agenda for today's talk. So we'll be seeing that what exactly is the responsive web design, why responsive web design, and then challenges of layout testing, and why automation is required for layout testing. The tool I'll be focusing on is Galen, and I'll be demonstrating a short description on implementation of Galen. So to brief a little bit about myself, so currently I'm working with Astro as automation test engineer. I have 7 years of experience. These are the tools that I have worked on, and previously I have worked on with many e-commerce organizations as well. So just a brief introduction of what exactly is Astro and what it does. So Astro is Malaysia's biggest broadcaster player. So as we have Sky in UK, we have Astro in Malaysia, whereas we have a penetration of users is quite high, which is 7.4 million unique visitors. And other than that, we have a lot of other products of Astro, which are in OTT and e-commerce. So here are a few product offerings that Astro gives us. In digital domain, OTT domain, and e-commerce domain. So to start with the presentation, so what exactly is the responsive design? I'm sure many of us already know about it, but just to give a base of the presentation, so responsive web design is nothing but just, it aims at crafting the websites which can open independent of the devices and gives us a good viewing experience. So basically the agenda is to design once and use everywhere. So let's take an example, like water. If I pour water in cup, it takes the shape of cup, and simultaneously if I pour in the bottle, it takes the shape of bottle. So similarly, our mobile or website should be such that if I open in mobile, it should actually take the resolution of mobile and so on for the desktop. So why exactly do we need responsive web designs? The reason being, the first is that people nowadays are going mobile. So this is a small survey of social websites that mostly all the websites now are going mobile, as you can see in this picture. The second reason being that Google prioritizes its search results based on the mobile-friendly sites. So what exactly is the problem statement that we'll be talking today is that why manual visual testing is really not enough, why there's a need for automation testing. So the challenges that we face while doing a visual testing of an application is that it's really boring to see and validate what exactly is the height and width, how it looks on different devices, and it's really time consuming and hence error prone to humans' eyes. So let's say I have 10 new web pages in my application to be released, and I need to test it on 6 browsers, 4 different platforms, and hence 240 layout checks, which is really difficult for a human to test it manually. So the solution is to automate. So if I automate the functional flows also, but what I'm missing here, so let's say I have, this is the website, this is Astro's website, and let's say if I have tested everything, still if UI breaks, and this, actually it's not like that, but I've just given a snapshot in which the UI is broken. So if I have the functional automation scripts available with me, but still I can't actually detect that my UI is broken. Functionally, all the links will work, but what the problem is that UI is broken here, which my functional test scripts can't really detect. Everything will pass, but still the website is broken UI. So hence, customers are not impressed, and we need to improve their experience. So just to summarize what we have discussed quickly, so we have variety of devices, resolutions, and then human eyes are really error prone. We don't have time. Our sprints are really short. So these are the tools. Let's talk about the tools that are available in the market for visual automation testing. And the tools are Galen, which I'll be talking about. Applitools, eyes also support this particular testing. And then Browser Stack and Phantom CSS are a few of the tools. There can be other tools as well. So why I've chosen Galen? So first of all, it's being an open sourced. It's designed with responsiveness in mind, and it runs really well for the cloud-based solutions. Galen has a very easy, human understandable syntax, which is very easy to implement. It supports languages and gives a really detailed HTML reports. So just have so how exactly Galen works? So in the backend, Galen uses Selenium. So Selenium actually helps us in detecting the web page element locations. Now Galen uses Selenium to interact with the web page elements, and it relatively we can give the relative distance between each of the elements. So Galen uses a specification file to understand the relative distance between each of the object in the web page. And if any of the error comes in my layout, so it highlights that particular web page element where the error comes, and I can easily see it gives the snapshots of that. So I can easily see in my report where the problem came. So this is a pictorial representation of Galen. So Galen just works on 3 different inputs. So I need to load my URL. I need to give the object identification, which can be ID, CSS, or XPath, and then the .spec file that I need to create for Galen. Then the test script will take all these 3 inputs and give 2 outputs, that is the detailed test HTML reports and the heat maps, which I'll be discussing further. Let's have a quick demo how we resolve this particular how we test the responsive websites at Astro. So let's have a demo quickly. So I have attached a mobile device, which I have mirrored here, and I'll quickly run my test scripts. So I have used one test script which runs basically on 3 different platforms. The first is the desktop, and the second one is the Android mobile, and the third is iPad. So you'll just see that it has so I'm just validating the menu and the search box in my script, and it's just one test script which will run on different platforms. So now it has opened. Now I have just mirrored my Android device. So now it will open in the Android device, the site, and validate the menu and search bar. Let me just see what happened. I think the Wi-Fi from my device is disconnected. I'll again open. So what I have done is I have parallelly run 2 APM servers, and it actually first runs on the desktop, and then I have used APM for Android mobile and iPad. So now it has opened in the tablet. I think there is some issue with the connection here. So I think I'll just show. So basically my in the demo, it's just some glitch, so I'll again run it and show. So basically what happened in the demo was that I used one test script, and it ran on 3 different platforms. So what I used was Galen's specification file. So it's basically, Galen uses the specification file, which is a domain-specific language. So it describes the layout. So it's just the plain English words that I'll be using in my Galen specification. So let's say for logo image. So logo image is one of the web page element in Astro's website, which I validate on all the platforms. So it takes @on tag for all the platforms to test, and it validates on mobile and tablet the height and width. So on all platforms, it tests that it should be centrally and horizontally inside. So these are the few aspects that Galen provides. It's the object definition. We need to define the objects, the tagging, and the relative locations. We can also validate the height and width, alignment, image comparison it provides, and then using for each loop, I can just loop my menu items or anything such like that. And if statements, it also provides us imports. So this is the object definition from one of my .spec files. So I just define @objects, and inside that, all the objects are being defined here. So object validation, I have defined my objects. Now I need to validate. I need to apply the validations on those objects. So let's say for menu, I am just identifying all the text and validating whether the text is this. So I have applied a for each loop. And then on mobile and tablet, I'm just validating the height and width of that particular element. So these are the validation that works on the objects. So now I have created my Galen specification file. Now how to use that specification file in my test scripts. So firstly, I load my URL. Second is creating the specification file, which we just discussed, the object definition and validation that I provide in specification file. Then I call my check layout method, in which I give the path of specification file, plus I give the tags mobile and tablet. So this is how my test scripts will work. Now creating the page specification file, if I have, let's say, 50 elements or 60 elements in a web page, it becomes really difficult to write all the specifications manually in the specification file. So we can use page dumps also, which it provides. So page dump is nothing but it just create a HTML report with the snapshot of the web page. So I need to define the objects in the specification file, and then it can create a page dump. So using the command line I have just shown in this slide. So using this command line, giving the header specification in which my objects are already defined, and the target where the dump will be created for that. So it will create a dump like this. So I have given these objects in my specification file, and it gives me the suggestions for specification, which I can use it from here. So this is a page dump for mobile website and desktop websites. So just make sure that it's not that it'll automatically create it, but it gives us a specification suggestion which we can use in our gspec files. So it gives if I select 2 elements, so it gives me the relative distance between both of them. So now talking about the Galen reports. So this is the Galen snapshot of the code that I ran on my local. So Galen, I ran on Android Chrome desktop, Firefox, and iOS Safari. So it gives me the reports for all the 3 platforms. And now this is a tree view structure of the Galen reporting, and it gives me all the elements that what I have validated. I can even expand them and then see what exactly I have validated in that particular web page. So it gives me a tick for the passed ones and cross for the failed ones. So now we have seen heat maps also in the Galen report. So what exactly is a heat map? It's a graphical representation of my elements or objects that I have validated. So it gives a color coding of what exactly I have validated in my web page, and then I can just see it gives the colors based on the tolerance, how much percentage it has matched on the web page. So these are the heat maps, and looking at heat maps, I can easily identify what has broken and what has passed, and what everything I have validated in my script. So the takeaways from today's session is importance of responsive web design, the challenges that what we face during manually testing it, and then the implementation using Galen. So I hope that was a understanding for you. So thank you.